Hello everyone, I'm Extra Cheesy 87 and this is Let's Play. Miles is apparently talking about pudding for some reason. I did load in the game and saw this is the line that we left on and had like a slight existential crisis about what the fuck am I doing with my life. But indeed, pudding is a nice dessert. Now, usual disclaimer goes, been a few days, don't 100% remember what is going on, but the good news in that department is we're beating the game today or tomorrow. That's my solemn vow. There's like a 84% chance we beat the game today or tomorrow because I've got all of today off and all of tomorrow off. I had all of yesterday off too, but I recorded trails, and after recording some of that, I was like my voice was kind of starting to die, so I couldn't record this game. So we're gonna start the day with some Ace Attorney. That way, when the voice starts to die, you can do trails, which is like a little less intensive. Because remember, if you can't, I'll be taking a certain someone back home with me as a souvenir. You can't do that anymore. That's illegal. I agree that as long as there's no proof, my hypothesis remains just that. And like, you wouldn't try Francesca and Zhang Fa. That doesn't make any sense. I don't know, how would it, if you commit a crime, because she committed crimes in 2 embassies, in theory. I don't know who gets jurisdiction there. I guess it would maybe like, well, you do like the one crime at the one country's court, and then they're like, we're going to extradite you to the other country. Or they just kind of make a deal to be like, hey, you sentence them extra hard for us, so we don't have to do 2 trials. However, but I mean, you wouldn't be going back home with him. What I've laid out is no mere hypothesis. There's one more piece of evidence. Yes, Edgeworth, share with the class. One more? Huh, this should be interesting. You think you got a piece of evidence that will turn your hypothesis into fact? Well then, let's see it, Mr. Prosecutor. The thing that made it possible to create a circular belt out of a length of wire. Yeah, because I mean, I still don't get that, so I believe that it's right here in this very room. The thing that made the circular, because I don't even remember what their explanation. So they said that it somehow turned into a conveyor belt, which doesn't really fucking jive in my brain. Like how it's supposed to lift up the one from the 3rd floor to the 5th floor diagonally. I just don't see how it gets enough fucking oomph to do that. There's the spear. Now the spear is still considered a piece of evidence for some reason, which I don't really know why. So I'm leaning towards it, even though I have no clue at all. I just know that it's remained in our inventory for some reason, which means we're not done with it, which makes you want to click that. The other thing, okay, so there is the ceiling fan. So if the ceiling fan is spinning and you connect the wire to the ceiling fan, I guess. Now, I don't buy the idea that the ceiling fan would be able to pull this thing up, but that actually somewhat makes sense, I guess. So I'm going to say ceiling fan.
Take that!
Looks like you dropped another bomb on us again. The last piece to the trick are 2 pulleys. Precisely, the ceiling fans double as pulleys in this case. And thanks to the fact there's one installed in each of the offices, the ceiling fan's made for the perfect pulley set for the wire to run on. I mean, that makes a bit more sense, because I didn't know there were ceiling fans. Didn't really pay attention. So that seems a bit more plausible, as opposed to just like the weight of the one statue falling was supposed to be enough to pull the other one up. It's plausible enough that I think making the line of logic is fine. Like, the fact that I was able to come to that conclusion, you know, almost pretty quickly, despite having forgotten what was going on, means it's probably a good prompt. That's gonna be my, criteria. If you can show the question to someone with, like, very little context and they can figure it out, then it's probably a good prompt. This must be it. This is how the smugglers bypass the impenetrable security. Ha ha ha! You're really something else, Mr. Prosecutor. I bet you figured it all out already, haven't you? You know, the fact that you know so much about how the crime was committed, maybe you're the criminal, Mr. Prosecutor, huh? Huh? You ever think about that? You know who the big hotshot that set up this real-life stage show is, don't you? The person who set up this rather large and complex stage show needs to be someone who had foreknowledge of the existence of a ceiling fan in both the Alabastian and Babali's offices. And that passion flower support stakes could be used as arrows. The real mastermind behind this case? Well, don't you dare make this wolf wait for his food. I mean, the wolf should be able to catch his own damn food. Why are you so hesitant, Miles Edgeworth? It's called being dramatic. You have no flair. No passion, no drive, no pizzazz, Francesca. That's why your dad hates you. Or at least he would if he was still around. If you can't say who it was, why don't you present something like you always do? A single point of the finger here and the case will explode into an international incident. However, it's already too late for me to stop the forward momentum. It appears that I have no choice now but to rush in. Because I mean, I'm gonna present dude, but... Because we know he's the mastermind, but is he the mastermind of this part? Presumably? Because he is... Just to remind myself. Alabast has the fake one. Babel... I hate the conflicting when it says it was a fake, but was swapped with the real one. It's originally from... Because I can't remember who has the... Used to be real. So Alabast had the real one, and Babalal initiated the trade to steal the real one, or is it vice versa? Because for some reason the damn texts are written like one of us tells the truth, the other speaks only lies. Alabast Prima Duck statue. Now it's called Alabast because we found it in Alabast. But it's actually Babalal's statue. Used to be real. It was swapped with a fake from Babalal. So Alabast had the real statue, and it was stolen by Babalal, which does make it seem like it wouldn't be this guy if he's the Alabastian ambassador. Because in theory, you would think they'd want to keep the statue that's real. But we also pretty much know he's the ringleader of the smugglers. But that doesn't necessarily mean he's the one that stole the statues. So, like, I don't know if I feel like I'm maybe overthinking it. But, like, this dude stealing the statues makes more sense. It makes more sense for Cochin to be the one stealing the statue. Or you. Because you're stealing the real one. And then this dude fucking ices your ass because he's a cold-hearted motherfucker. I don't know. I'm just gonna say this guy. And if it's wrong, it's wrong. I can't present anything. Oh, no, it's a piece of evidence. I thought I was presenting a person. Okay. Well, shit, that's actually a bit harder. The real mastermind behind this case. Exploded into an international incident. It's already too late for you to stop the forward momentum. There is one piece of evidence. I mean, because I don't know, what are we trying to prove? Are we just trying to prove the statue thing? I guess we're just trying to prove the statue. But like, because there's like two different things kind of going on. There's the general smuggling ring, but then there's also the statue. And we technically don't know that they're connected as of right now. Because it's entirely possible that these two were trying to steal the statue on their own, not related to the smuggling ring, and then maybe the smuggling ring just intervenes because they're like, well, we can sell the statue or some shit. Which doesn't really make much sense because this dude could have sold the statue at any time if he wanted to. But I don't know what one piece of evidence they want. Because, like, I was leaning towards the passion flowers. But then there's also the note. The fact that, you know, we know Cochin's the one that started the steal. But Cochin's not the mastermind of everything that's going on here. They won't even let me save. Well, whatever. So I guess we'll...
Take that!
The smuggling could not have been possible without the use of the crossbow. I don't, you know. And we'll save first, since we still have the 1 HP. Furthermore, the arrows that were shot by the crossbow were plucked, as it were, from the flower box in this very room. They were planted so long ago, the passion flowers had time to grow so big. And Miss Von Kramer didn't even notice the arrows, and she visited this room today. Okay, so we were right. On top of all this, the fact that the culprit knew that both offices had ceiling fans tells us the person has very detailed information on the embassy's layout. As you may have already guessed, the person I am accusing of hatching this plan is the person who grew the flowers in the flower box with the utmost care. Thus, it can only be you, Quercus Alba. Are you out of your mind, Miles Edgeworth? I'm certain of what I am saying, and I am sure that he is the culprit. Tell me, Mr. Prosecutor, what was the ambassador trying to accomplish by doing all the stuff you just outlined? Why in the world would he need to use a trick like that? Why in the world would Francesca do that shit? I understand you need to doubt me. However, there's one thing that stands out to me as very odd. Just one thing, huh? I'll have you know there's lots of odd things. Like 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15. I mean, you get the point. The one single end result Ambassador Alba sought to obtain. If I were to examine the focus of this complex trick, I believe we will finally find the answer to everything. Okay. What's the fucking question? the single end result they sought to obtain. Were to examine the focus of this complex trick, I believe we will finally find the answer to everything. So what was the end goal of stealing the statues? Now, maybe it's that he, like, knew they were gonna steal the statues, so he swapped them ahead of time, so when they swapped them, they actually just went back to what they were before, which would be dumb as shit, because if you knew it was gonna happen, you could just stop the assassin, which they did, or not the assassin, the thief, which they did do. And so it was Alabas that was used as a weapon. So Damask was killed after they were swapped. Which, I mean, could be... But, like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Because, I mean, that makes it seem like either A, he was killed immediately after he swapped them, which doesn't seem to be what we're saying. We're saying fucking Alba shot the crossbow or some shit. Which seems weird to me. I don't really understand the reasoning behind swapping the statues. For him to have done it. I don't know. Let's examine this. I believe that by examining it, we will finally have all of our answers. Oh no. The IG says items that come to evidence should never have any part overlooked. Yeah, whatever. I just like I feel like the case is like not really making. Oh no, I gotta go through this whole fucking thing again because you can't go fast through the text. There's no way the technology's not there, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Why in the fuck would you make it so you can't skip the text, man? Like, that's seriously obnoxious. Why in the world would he need to use a trick like that? I don't fucking know. It seems really stupid. There's one thing that's odd. The one single end result he sought to obtain. It says notes on his body, not just his body. Oh, I guess it means notes like autopsy notes. Because I still don't really know why this fucker got killed. Because, like, we know he's associated with the smuggling ring. And they were burning documents. And we're burning documents. But why would that make him want to kill him? Or they were burning money that he made. I don't know. But I mean, I'm leaning toward something to do with like why they killed this guy. Which could have been because he was trying to steal the statue. And so they killed him as punishment. But I don't really know if that's related to what they're talking about here. Because if you wanted to stop him from swapping the statues, you wouldn't, you know, swap the statues. Or you would do it like I said, you swap the statues and then you have the thief swap the statues back, and there would be no point in killing Damask too. What was I gonna click on? I don't remember. It's this. It's a card with orders. Because like maybe trying to establish the connection between the two?
Take that!
Oh, that's fine. Because I don't really know what they want. Because it just feels like they're like, it is two completely different cases that don't actually feel connected. One single end result he sought to obtain. We've examined the focus of this complex trick. We will find the answer to everything. Because if it was a situation where they were trying to steal the statue, I would get it. But they already had the real statue, so why would you want to swap? Right? Like, they did have the real... It was fake. It's from Alabast. Wait, he's the ambassador of Alabast. I thought he was Bobble. Bobble's Prima Duck statue. So this is the one in Cochin's office. So the one in Cochin's office, who is Bobble, this is the real one at the end of the day. I would fully understand the reasoning of the situation been the reverse. Yeah? To go through the trouble of swapping the real Prima Duck statue for the fake. I sense a very shady reason for such a bizarre action. And who better to ask for that reason than King Prima Ducks himself? Okay, Ambassador, we'll be examining the because I mean, okay, so there's like something in the statue? I mean, maybe. I don't know. I presumed it was, if it's hollow, you guys would have figured that out. Because I mean, I guess it doesn't say that they're solid, but it also... These are Mr. Cochin's fingerprints. The fact that they're on here suggests this statue once belonged to Babalaw. So it was smuggled from Babalaw to Alabast, huh? I don't know. I couldn't rightly tell you, partner. God, kind of looks like the Steel Samurai, don't you think? Yeah, okay, but what am I supposed to click on? Take a look at this area around the base of his neck. It looks like a gap. You're right. Maybe it's meant to be some kind of secret. Hence, it's possible to open the statue from this gap in its construction. What? Hurry up and open it, Miles. Alright, here goes. Wow, it really did open up. What's this thing that fell out? I believe a more thorough examination of it is required. I don't really like that the way they phrase the argument is that you have to say the thing that doesn't make any fucking sense. Right? Like... Because if you think about it, it doesn't make any sense. And then when you present the answer of the statue, It's like, this should be phrased as like, what, instead of it being, making it seem like we're trying to present a logical argument, we're trying to point out that like, this shit doesn't make sense. So that's what Edgeworth should be saying. Like, what is the thing that doesn't make sense here? Because when it asks for everything will be clear once we examine this piece of evidence, that makes it seem like you're trying to present a logical argument. Like you're trying to explain their actions, as opposed to saying, hey, this thing doesn't make sense. Which even then, clicking on the statues, the idea that the game was going to meet me halfway and come to the same conclusion that it doesn't make sense for the statues to be swapped is not really apparent. So like, even though we got that right, I didn't really feel like it should be right. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you know, the lead up is, why would he need to use a trick like that? So it makes it seem like you're supposed to explain why he would do that, rather than saying, this shit doesn't make any sense. Is this what I think it is? It's a plate for making counterfeit bills. Somehow it appears we've at long last arrived. Seems like there'd be a significantly easier way to get them over to this guy, but you know, whatever. We finally hold within our hands one of the counterfeit money plates. And the reason why the replica was smuggled into Alabasta to begin with. Okay. Still don't really get it. The Prima Duck statue can only be handled by the ambassador of the Secretariat. And the replica is nothing more than a hollow shell covered in gold. These two circumstances make the statue the ideal object in which to hide contraband. So receiving the statue containing the counterfeit plate from Sheena, the ambassador had the misfortune of accidentally running into Damask too. Surprised by the thief, the ambassador raised the replica statue at Damask too, and honestly pretty fucking cringe that you got taken out like that. You didn't even get caught from behind. You had the drop on him and you got your ass beat by this old ass dude. How do you even get the statue up high enough to hit him in the head, man? So, in this situation, Cochin is like, the plates are in my statue. So I'm gonna hire Damask to swap the statues so that I don't have the plates anymore. What? Because if that's why they're important, unless it was supposed to be that he knew dude was gonna swap the statues, so then Damask was supposed to swap them back? But just couldn't you just remove the plate? He covered the samurai sword in blood. Well, and also, aren't they working together? You're the leader of the smuggling ring? My country is a mess. And it's all because of you? I mean, I don't know, man. If your country's economy can get taken out by like one counterfeit fucking press, I don't know, brother. I feel like that's on you. You're the one who killed Damask too? Answer us. I never thought that you would figure things out to this level. I made my crime dumb as shit. No one was supposed to be able to figure out the convoluted nonsense I did. There's one point I disagree with you on. The the head of the smuggling ring was Mr. Goshen. Maybe that makes more sense. I don't really know.
Not so fast.
I mean, not really. Quit screwing around. Got no sympathy for somebody who would try and pass the guilt onto a dead man. There's one thing I'm sure, is that you're the real ringleader. I mean, like, I don't know. Not good to speak with such subjectivity. You know, Agent Long. Subjectivity? My conclusion's anything but. As a result of logic and investigation. Logic? Investigation? Only seconds ago you were ready to arrest Miss Von Karma. I don't think we can give such flippy-floppy logic any real weight, do you? I'm laughing. That's what she and I would do if she were here. Looks like you still don't get why I came back. Excuse me? You see, the reason I came back is so that I could sink my fangs into your wrinkly old neck. Okay, so now he's gonna pretend that he was trying to get him from the start, which is what I gave him the benefit of the doubt, but I think he really is just a dumbass. From the very beginning, my real target's been you. What? Agent Long, I demand an explanation. Sorry, sis. I didn't mean to put you through all that. Honestly, it's a good save, though. To be like, I'm not a dumbass. It was all part of my master plan. I knew you were innocent from the very beginning. You did? I knew the whole incident had been meticulously planned and prepared for. Naturally, the occupant of this room, Ambassador Alba, seemed the most suspicious. Without the ambassador's permission, we couldn't get in to take another look around. That's why you put on this big show to accuse Francesca of the murder. You sure you're not just stupid? Using Francesca as the bait, you're able to gain essentially an investigative rights. Yeah, if I'd done that, I doubt the ambassador would have given the okay to poke around. So that's what this was all about. Very well, I will forgive you after 35,000 lashes. But in exchange for using me as bait, you will take some responsibility and help us find the truth. And 40,000 lashes. Agent Long, thank you for giving me such a great opening. I thank you. Thinking to himself, yep, they fucking bought it. You know, I just knew, Mr. Prosecutor, that somehow if we were able to find some proof by investigating this room, that you'd be able to figure out the real culprit with your special brand of logic. Yeah, special brand of logic. The evidence detectives collect combined with the logic of a prosecutor, that's just as it should be in a prosecutor-detective team, right? Gumshoe fucking crying his eyes out. I don't know about all that, but one thing I do know is that I mentioned to see the old man get what's coming to him. Oh-ho! Quite scared when you want to be, aren't you? You were the one who was planning to use me to push all the guilt onto the sis. Unfortunately for you, you misjudged me. I was only pretending to be an idiot. Agent Long, I wish for you to stop trying to intimidate me. What we need right now is evidence and proof. I wonder if you have what is necessary to prove that I am the head of the smuggling ring?
Objection!
Don't be such a sore loser. If you really are the head of the smuggling ring, then you should acknowledge your crimes with dignity. No, because if I was the head of the smuggling ring, I'd be a criminal. And considering Cochin's dead, a murderer, or at least an accomplice to murder, should make me a bad dude. Why would I, if I'm a bad dude, hypothetically speaking, want to acknowledge my crimes? I'm a bad dude. Dignity? It's nothing more than a fool's insincere display of strength. You really wish for me to acknowledge my crimes? I would first see some of this thing you call evidence. Oh, she's turned into the wolf girl. I tell you what, I knew nothing. Really? I didn't even know that a counterfeit plate was hidden inside that statue.
Objection!
Like how you didn't even... So you're not even going to argue the whole I didn't swap the statues thing? You swapped a real statue that vested in your country with the authority to rule for a fake. Doesn't make any sense you didn't know anything. Doesn't make any sense? Why doesn't it make sense? Maybe I thought ours was fake. Can you prove that it doesn't make sense? He's really got us. He basically did just say, can you prove water's wet, dumbass? You're like, well, He's turned the entire situation around against us. The proof that Interpol has been after, which points to the man as the ringleader. If we can somehow find that proof now, then we can see to it that justice is finally served. Is there nothing I can use to break this case wide open? The trump card and the videotape. With those two items, we might be able to finally bring this man down. But the card is evidence from a case that Mr. Faraday hid away in secret. And the tape was stolen by Detective Bad from the police. They're both illegal evidence. No matter what, a protector of the law can't be allowed to use such pieces of evidence. Well, no. A, we're not in a trial. B, all we would be doing is getting him to admit the shit that he shouldn't know about. Right? Like, we can use them in an ethical manner, or at least a not ethical manner, you know what I'm saying? Like, we could use the trump card and the videotape, and if he shows any knowledge of what they are, then that means he's fucking guilty. We don't have to, like, use them in court or anything. Needless to say, we Von Karmas are commanded to achieve nothing but victory, and by any means necessary. Only way to bring someone like that to justice was to do so outside the courts. That's what we thought at the time. I no longer follow the path of Manfred von Karma. And I won't follow the path of the Yatagarasu. This leaves me with what? What creed will I believe in? I want to pursue the truth, then I will sully my hands in legality. If I want to pursue justice, then I will lose the truth. What is the law and what is justice? And which path is a prosecutor supposed to follow? That choice is one I must make by my own hand, here and now. I don't know. I say use the trump card, man. Because, once again, we're not in a court of law. We're just trying to establish, like, suspicion. And plus, when you try and follow the rule of law in previous games, you get a bad end. So, I feel like I've been trained to use the trump card. There's no limit to the law. Any limit that exists was set there by man. When a person goes beyond that limit, then the law too crosses into new territory. Like, I don't know. I mean, I get what they're going for, but I do think the second game did it way better. Like, that kind of, when it comes to approaching that idea of... I mean, I guess it's from, like, the flip side, right? From the prosecutorial sense of, like, you know the person's guilty, but you can't prove it, as opposed to the defense attorney, if you know the guy's guilty, but you have like a right or like a duty to prove them innocent, even if you know they did that shit, and they're gonna do more bad shit afterwards. So, like, I don't know. I kind of liked it more in that game, especially because it was actually in a court of law. Whereas us being maybe very slightly shady in this case, it doesn't hit as hard because well, we're not in a court of law. We're not really like going against any sort of sacred oath or anything. We're not really acting as a prosecutor here. We're just like a guy. For what reasons were laws invented? The answer to this is what I must now show. Ambassador Alba? I wonder if you might recognize this.
Oh, wonder what that card is. Never seen that before in my life.
It's a directives card used by the leader of the ring to relay instructions to his subordinates.
Oh, is that what it is?
This card was sent to the real culprit behind the KG8 incident 10 years ago. A man by the name of Mr. Manny Cochin.
So, how do you have such a card in your possession? Maybe you're the mastermind. You've been a little young to be a mastermind, but you know those criminals, they start them young. Maybe you're a very smart boy to run a criminal enterprise at such a young age.
Because it was hand-delivered to me by a certain great thief, D. Yatagaratsu.
Yatagaratsu gave that to you. Ah, don't talk nonsense. Let's be serious, Mr. Edgeworth. You have any proof the card contains directions from the ringleader?
I'll have you know the card is not the only thing I was given.
What?
This contains security footage that was shot just for the start of the KG8 incident.
The KG8? What the hell is that? Is that like one of them comics?
The card and the video, these two pieces of evidence are what will seal your fate.
Very interesting. Must admit, I'm very curious now. Very curious indeed, these case-deciding pieces of evidence you presented.
The prey the Yatagaratsu have been chasing all this time now stands before me. I can't allow this man who has free reign for 10 long years to simply walk away. That's right. So it does seem like maybe we're closer to the end of the game than I thought. Which means what we're going to do is if the game ends in the next, like, 30 to 40 minutes, or like we enter into like the wrap-up or something, we will continue the video. But if there's still like, 40 minutes to an hour left, we're going to cut the video here, and I'm just going to keep recording, and then we'll, the next video will just kind of start right now.